All right, can we start with a prayer, guys? A space to be filled with clarity and discernment, allowing for a rapid yet graceful shift towards wholeness. We're thankful for this unique blend of just the right energies that will lift and empower those with a wish to receive. So welcome everybody, I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about choices. First I want to mention our center we're getting ready to open. Women Rising, Center for Empowerment. Here's our symbol. The Triquetra means the three stages of womanhood: the maiden, the mother, and the wise woman. And the panther is a symbol for motherhood and gaining power from the darkness, courage, protection, personal power. And the peacock is integrity, balance of opposites, rising from the ashes, and the ability, which is cool, to see the past, present, and future all at one time. Like, you know, giving you the ability to connect the dots. So this is kind of our mission for why we're here. You know, to give women a platform. We have been downtrodden for way too long, right? Yeah. I like to look at the Bible just simply as stories. I don't care where we stand to believe, but they are very common stories that most people, especially in this country, do understand. The very first story in the Bible was Eve. It was all about woman turning away. Kind of turning away from like our power, right? Our ability to make choices. A little bit at a time, we've turned away from that, right? It's kind of every time we turn away, we're handing somebody our choices. Think about that. Anytime you don't make a choice, somebody is making it. And choices happen moment by moment by moment. So when we're playing this God game, which is a cool game when you think about it, right? Like when you think, wow, you know, he gave us all these choices. And when we're told that, it's for real. Like, because it's all about how we show up, right? Like everything you experience is about how you show up, what framework you're standing in, and how you choose to interact with the situation. So most of the time, when we walk away angry, we're often just angry at us about how we showed up. Right? I mean, I know me, like every time I get to where I'm really uncomfortable, it's when I sit down and think about it, it's not really, because nobody can do anything to you, really. You know, unless they come like and stab, you know what I mean? But it's about how you show up and how you respond, right? And often we respond in an unfavorable way because we've left doors open from past, right? So then we've got all these doors open. So truly, if you're interacting If you're in a room and a predator walks in, who's he going to walk up to? He's going to walk up to somebody who's already got those doors open. She's not aware. She's not making her own choices. She's following. She's following, right. So she's very vulnerable just because she's not standing in her power and not making her own choices. Because when you're not making it, someone is every second. So it's like you can choose to be the star of your movie, or you can choose to be a stand-in. Right? Right? And I love when we look at then you come into the New Testament. Also, I really truly believe that the Bible was, it was interpreted by man. What if, just what if, it was written for us? Because in that day and time, to have woman mentioned as much as she was, hello. I'm just saying. And the Old Testament has 9 mother stories, with Dad walking back here. The story is centered on Mom and her position in creating this God. Mm-hmm. Every one of those stories. What it took. And what she sacrificed for this God to become. And then you come into the New Testament, and man's not really even present at all. Right? Because they're trying to say, hello, women. Wake up, we need you. The world needs you, right? So in the New Testament, we've got man pretty much out. And if you read other texts, we've got Mary, studying because she's like saying, hey, God came down and he gave me this baby. Like, I'm going to have to give it everything so it can become what was intended, right? Think about that. And it wasn't about perfection because she lost him. She left him in another city. So think about that. I think it's very clever that they added that. Because it's not about perfection. It was about the fact that she was giving this God, which we all are. We all come here perfect, right? Giving this God a platform to become. So, what if she had chosen differently and chosen to be up in arms because she was unwed with child? So think about that again. She could have made a big choice to be like, whoa, and be down in this wallow and, just, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Instead, she walked forward and created a space, right? Because often it's about how we're walking through the fight, right? Because we could walk around the fringes, right, and suffer for 100 years, being burned on this side, and then you turn and you're burned on this side, and then you turn and you're burned on this side, where if you just walk through, good hard singe and you're over. You know what I'm saying? Deepak Chopra told me that, and believe me, I was livid. I got up to that microphone, 300 people going, excuse me, don't tell me I chose what I've gone through, And he said, well, even if you get outside of, the realms of reincarnation and all those stories, he said, you are choosing how you're dealing with it. He said, pain happens. Suffering is a choice. Right? So often we're like running, right? We're just running. And we forget that we've been running for 40 years. And you think, who's chasing you? 9 times out of 10, if you stop and turn around, it's you. Yeah. Exactly. Because if you can't see you, if you are making the choice to not see you, no one else is going to see you. Right? Which again is just a choice. right? About how we show up. But I love those stories in the Bible, because I think that we have just kind of looked at them in a very man sort of way. And when you think, I love that you're here. Because when you think about the blessing of being female, we are the direct connection to the divine. He creates himself over and over and over again through us. It takes a 9-month commitment just to create the baby on the mom's part, about 30 seconds for dad. And he can walk away if he chooses. Mom is there, right? At the end of the day, child's up for adoption, whatever, who's he going to go looking for? Most of the time, it's mom. And you can follow that cord straight back. You don't ever cut it. Yeah. I don't care what you think you're doing. Yeah. You don't cut it. They're going to find you. It's the only time that we are of one body with another human being. Think about that. You're one body. Yeah, And dads can say they're a big part, and they are. But they're never of one body. Ever. They're always walking up after and embracing, which is fabulous when it's done. It's fabulous. It's necessary. But, ultimately when your back is against the wall, who do you want? You want your mom. It's so important, so important. And I think we have stepped into this energy where we've been tamed to such a degree. But again, that like puts us at a point where somebody did something to us. I have to say, I always tell the story of my little grandmother who was my size. And my dad was this, raving lunatic. And if she walked in the room and told him to sit down, she never even was smart. She'd just say, Danny, sit down now. Boom. Because she was standing in her full power. I guess what I noticed through my whole existence and all the crap is that when a woman walked into the room in her power, it didn't matter how crazy it was, everything stopped. Without drama. Think about that. Because we have created every one of them. We are mom to every one. Right? And as a woman, we have the ability, which is so magical, to see through the eyes of others. We have the ability to be able to look and quickly assess where you've been standing, where you've been, what you need, not what you want. That's the cool thing about mom too, is being able to see past, because I had another great Chopra story, because he talks about woman too, and the magic, He was like, women are connected. I mean, just think of the plug-in. If you think of an electrical circuit, where we go? God, us, man plugs in. Yeah. Think about it. But he tells this story, and he's honestly probably one of the most, him and Jimmy Carter, out of the men I've met on this planet, I'm just saying, most humble individuals. But Chopra, and he's very magical. The man can levitate, like I've seen him float up off the floor. He can do a whole lot of things. But his relationship to nature is very not female. Right? So to be able to interact with the animals or interact, like he never even thought of it. Right? It was something that never even occurred to him. Like it would be more a man thing, right? To say, can I move that table? Versus, can I talk to the birds? Yeah. That's why the world needs us, right? So this woman was like, I can interact with the birds, right? And he kept kind of blowing her off. Finally, she got him outside, and within 5 minutes, she was covered in birds. Yeah, and they were eating out of her mouth, and he was flabbergasted. That's what I love about him too, is he always telling stories on himself.
Yeah.
But he was flabbergasted. That's what we have the ability, because we are the creators, right?
Yeah.
So kind of cool. The magic that we possess to be able to see. When the old wives' tales, when they say, mom has eyes in the back of her head, like she freaking does. Like, I don't care. I've had my girls living on all sides of the planet. And if I sat down and wanted to know what was going on in their insides, yeah, you can connect, because that cord is there. It's there. So back to the choices. Whose hand before we start meditating, I think that it's important for us as we start the process of stepping into our power. I love this visual, because I've taken bazillion classes everywhere, and this little woman says to me, "Your light's right here, and you're only with your toes." I was like, well, that's probably about right. Through the rest of my journey, it's like people are telling me, lean in, Cherie. Yeah. Lean in. Step into that. But it's a lot of responsibility. It's huge responsibility when you think, okay, every choice I make from this point on, I have responsibility over. You can't get mad at someone else, right? You know what I mean? Because bottom line, when we walk away, we're like mad because, again, like how we showed up, how we reacted. You can't have somebody else make the decision and then get mad because of the choice they made, right? Because now you're aware.
Yeah.
That's God's game, is how do you respond to each choice that you walk through. So, as we move into our meditation, I think that it would be good to take a few moments and just think about that. Like, where's your power? Where have you placed it? Who's got those little pieces? Because every time you're not making, it's also like you're handing a little piece of power here. And you got a little piece of power over here. One back here. See where they are. Because then you can go, oh, all right. I'm going to start actively making that choice. Habits are created over time, right? And they really become powerful when your thoughts and your words and actions are entrenched in a habit. When you're declaring, I am this. I do this, So it's time to start choosing some different declarations, right? So, I know that you've never meditated. Have you meditated before? Awesome. Have you meditated before? Well, you know what? I think that we are in a time that life is very active. And I think it's very important for us to understand our energies and understand what our minds can do. So I usually guide a very active meditation. I want you to become very attuned to your body. Your body is your antenna to the divine, right? That's where we're gaining, it's like our internet. We're gaining information all the time through our skin. It's kind of cool, right? So, as we do this, I'm just going to follow, just follow. I'm going to have you get really in tune with your body. We'll get you really relaxed. I like to play with the animal energy. So we'll see what animals show up, right? Kind of be aware, just pay attention. You guys, I'll take you to your third eye where you can, start seeing, hearing information. We've been meditating in this space, or playing in this space for a really long time. I like to call it playing, because I've had so much fun during this process of learning about the magic, right? Because you have it. Most of the time, just at this point, it's using you. because you don't understand it, right? So let's play. Uncross your legs. You'll be more comfortable. Get a position that you're really like can hold, you know, just be comfortable in for a while. Crash out. I'll put some good music on here. Now, I'm a very active meditator, so I stand up, you know. I mean, here's the thing. You know, the indigenous people, we're bouncing all around, right? There's no set way. You know, I know, because I remember you as a child. You had ways of centering yourself. Didn't she rock?
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. That's meditation, all right? So just if you feel like moving, move. You know, I'm going to be moving. I usually stand up, you know. Often it's, you know, I'll create like a rhythm in my body, you know, that my focus goes to. So all this is about is getting to that place where you are singularly focused on one thing, where your thoughts and your words and your action are coming to a pinpoint. That's the place of creation. You know, if you think about a spell, right? Like, you know, a spell, there's no extra words, right? There's no throwaway words at all. Every word has action and clarity. So that's where we're wanting to get to in your mind, because that's where you start creating. Okay. Take some deep breaths in through your nose and out through your toes. Most of the time we exhale from the upper part of our chest and leave a lot of residue in the bottom. So let's really push that air out to where your toes are feeling tingly. Everybody got that good. I can feel it. My legs are tingling. God, we ask that all energies, entities, spirits, or people that are not working towards the common good of this room be removed at this time. God, we ask that all energies, entities, spirits, people, our guides, angels, whoever that can aid us on our journey today, we call them into our circles. We ask that the animals display our patterns. And our strengths and our weaknesses. I'd like for you to reach down to the center of the earth. We're going to pull up a cord. It's a very earthy cord, right? So it's kind of heavy, and we're going to attach that to our root chakra, which is right at the base of our spine. Just be very aware of what that energy feels like as it begins to filter through your body. What's it feel like? Now we're going to reach up, pull a cord down from the heavens, and we're going to attach that to our crown chakra. And we're going to attach that right where like a yarmulke would sit. It knows where to go. This cord's very light. You feel weightless. Let's be aware of what that energy feels like. Now as this two are starting to mingle and become one, what's that feel like? Is it morphing into another instrument, or is it coming together to create harmony? I want you to bring your awareness to the big toe on your right foot. Find your pulse there. And take all your awareness to that point where you can feel your heartbeat. Let's bring your awareness to your left kneecap. Again, we're going to find your pulse there. Your awareness is at a pinpoint. And we're going to bring your awareness to your heart chakra. We're going to bring it to a pinpoint right in the center between your breasts. The color of your heart chakra is emerald green. And the energy moves counterclockwise. I want you to bring your awareness up to that space behind your eyes and play with that energy there a little bit. Exercise it. Try to gather it up and draw it back and then release it. Now gather it up and release it. I want you to notice that in your brain you can see your left lobe and your right lobe. And you see this little circular organ in the center where information can go back and forth. So I want you to gather that power up behind your eyes and pull it into that little space. for any that are having any difficulties with that. I want you to throw your awareness to the ceiling. Be aware of your body. See your body sitting there. And then I want you to drop down to that little circular space. That feels good. Now, kind of as if you had like a water slide that ran from that spot that you're sitting to this beautiful emerald lake at your heart. Plunge in. Now feel that. Feel how different that feels. To actually be connected to your heart space. It's as if your eyeballs are down there, right? So now I'd like for you to pick a scenario where there's struggle or suffering in your life right now. Maybe an interaction you had this week where you were left feeling really unsettled or angry. Now, as if you were watching a movie, let that scenario play out from your perspective. Observe how you were feeling. Don't interact with it, just observe it. And for every feeling you have, ask why. Because the power is in the asking, right? The power is in the asking. Knowing the questions to ask. So why is a huge one? Why? Why did I react like that? Now I want you to pull out. Pull your awareness to one of the other parties. The old saying, step into their shoes. Do it. Because in that space, then you can see that it probably has very little to do with you. It has to do with their own story and how they're showing up. Now we're going to walk away from that. So as you're walking, just walking, pretty soon you start to feel sand in between your toes. Be very aware of what that feels like. You're so in your body, you're so on fire that you can feel every grain of sand touching your toes and your feet. You're very aware of the warmth. The heat's kind of snuggling up around your body. You're just enjoying the walk. The sunset is very beautiful. Become aware of the energies that are around you. Their presence is warm and comforting. You know from this space that any question you ask, you can have the answer. The answer is readily available. Your guides are there with you. If you're comfortable, slowly turn around and ask to meet them. They're always whispering in your ear, those moments of clarity where you know exactly what to do. You know exactly how to do it. Just consciously understanding that they're there. Each of you cast your own sacred circle and sit cross-legged. Your guides, your animals are all around you. Very safe, nothing can cross. Look up, Audrey. In your mind, look up. Have a big giraffe looking over the top of your head. I am connected to all that is. I am the creator of all that is. As you begin to bring yourself back to this plane, you can very clearly see you moving the layers out of the way. Very aware of the dimensions you're coming back through. And you're drawn right back into the heart. Be aware of how that feels different, coming back to your heart like that. We're going to bring our awareness to the bottoms of our feet. Just be very aware of what the floor feels like, the insoles of your shoe. Your body feels extra alive, extra alert. Feel very comfortable in your body. The awareness that you gained, come back with you.